Hello, everyone. Welcome to Steadfast Pursuit. This is at his feet podcast. Today, we are honored to have two friends with us. My name is Brian. I am the host, and I'm privileged today to be hosting two of my friends. I will allow them to introduce themselves, starting from my left.
My name is Faith Kangogo. Yes.
Where do you worship? Where do you go to church?
I worship at Milimani.
Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Brian. My name is Wycliffe Kimtai, brother to Faith and a member of One Youth, aicmilimaniyouth-NRB.
Amazing. If you can't remember, One Youth is the name of our youth ministry. And so, we are glad to be continuing our conversation on relationships. And so today we are doing relationships. We are talking about relationships between siblings. And so these two friends are siblings, as they have said, as Kim has said. And so we want to just go straight into the conversation. Unafeel aje mkiwa siblings? How does it feel?
That is a very weird question for this reason. Yes. I think.
Look,
first it feels.
Would you say you have a good relationship with him?
Yes, I tend to think I have a good relationship with Kim.
Would you co-sign?
Yes.
Nice. So in life and even in the Bible, we have seen cases where siblings have good relationships and on some instances not so good relationships. And so just for your case, because we now know that you have, I have observed you are both my friends, and I know you do have a good relationship. And so how would you encourage, let's say Mimi, I may not have such a good relationship with my siblings. How would you encourage me to work towards that end? Let me start with Kim Alafu.
Okay. So how I would encourage you if maybe you don't have a good relationship.
Yeah.
I think a good way I look at it is you should just to try and understand the what comes with having a good relationship with a sibling or or a bad relationship. So when you look at what comes out of a good relationship with your siblings, who are amongst, you can say, the closest people you will have through life, then you're able to embrace, the need for having a good relationship with siblings. And so from that mindset, then you're able to try and look for ways to make sure to nurture that relationship, just like many other relationships.
Amazing. So Faith, how would you encourage good relationships between siblings if you are in a position to and you have a set of siblings? How would you encourage them to have a good relationship?
That's assuming that a good relationship is not happening then.
Yeah, well, we can make that assumption.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think to constantly just look at how much of a blessing it probably is and will be if you guys are fast friends, and two, if you are getting by just okay. And also, in terms of just giving each other grace, because if you just look at even relationships that are not like for siblings, oftentimes we will have differences. Yeah. And it comes out of either you have a different personality or temperament, or we are from like different households, but we are not the same. And like those are part of the things that I consider to be the things that sometimes bring strain. Unakuta yeye anataka kufanya vitu vile anataka, mimi nataka ifanywe hivi, and yet we are from the same household. So maybe just giving grace and understanding that I might want things a certain way, you might want things a certain way, and it doesn't make it wrong to be like that, only that you must come together and agree to disagree. Yes.
Yeah, and I particularly love your answer because you've mentioned extending grace to your siblings the same way you would extend grace to me in our friendship. So how would you, in the case that there is a spoiled, just imagine for a minute that your relationship with Kim is not, or is struggling rather, and your siblings, how would you extend love and grace even in a situation where it seems nearly impossible, especially in some extreme cases where your relationship has either been strained by external factors or maybe happenings in the family. How do you extend grace and love in a situation where it seems very, very difficult?
In our context, I think always having at the back of your mind how difficult it was, especially, for example, for Christ to extend grace to us. If you keep on imagining how, like, for example, he had to die for us, we really didn't deserve it. And oftentimes, we are the same way you'd think, probably, like you have a very big strain in your relationship. There's someone else out there who also thinks you are literally a thorn in their flesh.
Yeah.
So I think oftentimes we also forget that we can be those people to others. And I think for siblings, it's quite difficult. Also considering, I think relationships between siblings is difficult because first, you didn't choose to be born in that family. It's like a forced relationship. Like literally, it's a forced relationship.
Yeah.
Once your brother and sister, like that's that. Like it's natural cause or something. Yeah, there's that. And then also, I think there's so many things that you guys will be in conflict with or constantly in competition towards. For example, attention, resources, time. Like there's just a lot. And I think in that context, just being able to see that, yes, just because we are here and we have like a lot that is maybe causing us strain, I think should help us look further into what exactly is this that is at the root of maybe our strain. Then from there, sometimes also get help from outside. And I think more importantly, don't stop trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. I don't know if you have any comment on that.
Just thinking of the Bible, there is a place where it talks of a friend. Okay, there's a section that actually talks of a brother being born for adversity.
Yeah.
So I want to believe that for siblings, it's the level of grace you should extend according to that maybe is
high.
Is high actually, for lack of a better way to put it. So we should be able to have some form of long suffering for our siblings.
Yeah, I think the verse you mentioned is I can't remember the exact verse.
It's in Proverbs.
A
friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity.
Yes, yes, that one. So, and I love that you have mentioned, especially when you're competing, especially for attention and resources and everything else. At some point, there will develop a rivalry between siblings. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it, but at some point, inakuanga levels ndo huvari. So how would you, first of all, before we talk about how to deal with, and I think you had given us pointers, before we deal with sibling rivalries, what could be the causes or nini inafikishanga wase wanaanza kuona sister yake kama ni competition ama anytime you do something Faye anaona ni kama this is aimed at me or something like that. What causes that?
I'll give you, I think, a story.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I think when I think about sibling rivalry, one example comes to mind. We have a younger brother.
Yeah.
I particularly remember when he was born, I felt like a lot of attention was going towards him.
Wow.
We have loved yogurt, like the both of us, for a very, very long time.
Before he came.
Yeah, before he came. So I kept on wondering, when he was born, there used to be yogurt, but now naambiwa hii yogurt ni ya mtoto.
So all of a sudden yogurt.
Yeah.
Out of bounds.
Wow. It's like all of a sudden tumekuwa chocolate, and we weren't like older even then.
Yeah.
And I remember I took that particularly to heart, and I used to think, okay, mtoto amekuja, okay, fine, like I mean, it
Ni
feels
mtoto
good.
wetu.
Yeah, ni mtoto wetu.
Eh,
And
but-
he's also bringing us joy. But, like, why? Hata mimi nataka yogurt. But in the long run, I can't particularly remember when it stopped. But if I think about it right now, like my parents at that time, instead of responding that way, I really think they had an opportunity to make it like a lesson, either that una mtoto saizi ama they look for ways of providing for all of us.
For both,
yes,
for everyone.
so that no one feels in the
Left
long
out.
run, kwani mimi si, yeah. So also another thing that comes to mind is Joseph and his coat of colors.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a contributor to sibling rivalry would be showing favoritism.
Yeah, favorite.
Yeah, there's that. Also, because I keep on wondering, especially in line with Joseph and the coat of many colors, and also like you could see also other instances where it's like favorite son. And remember, this was the son of Rachel. Nakumbuke pia Benjamin also got some sort of, like, you can feel some favoritism.
Yeah.
And not the other 10 brothers now.
Yeah.
And you can see the ripple effect of it even up until like we sell our brother and it was okay for them. So I think favoritism. And I think not sometimes, a bigger cause would be the weakness of our hearts.
Yeah.
If you look at the first brothers, same.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Faith may explain vizuri sana what could lead to that. So in your own thinking, how can let's say this is a very healthy family, like relationship wise and everything. Tuseme tu ni hao siblings wako na tu shida yao kidogo. How would we deal with that? You mention anyone, either the family, Faith alikuwa mention external help, even if the church can come through. How do you think we can deal with that?
Okay, I think a large part is to be played by the parents,
Yeah.
where if they entertain showing that one sibling is in quotes better than the other in different terms. It could be, for me, what comes to mind is academic, especially in our context.
Yeah.
This one is an engineer, this one is by the way, Ako too, struggling.
You barely go to college.
Yeah. So if the parents entertain that, I think there are higher chances that it will be cultivated between the siblings. So
And actually, I think most parents do encourage. Juu nakumbuka if you are close like by age, unapata wewe uko form 3, mwingine ako form 2 ama form 1. Ule anapata A ama B, wewe uko C, unaambiwa yo, be you like your brother. What are you doing?
So I think a large part of it is the comparison between siblings, and parents can help to at least tone it a bit down. And as an individual or between siblings, maybe we can try our best to keep consider to contain the, if you want to, when you start to compare yourself with your siblings, try and contain that so that it doesn't become like it's a competition, because most of the time actually it's never a competition.
Yeah.
And
I love that you've both mentioned the impact of parents, and that was actually my next question. But mimi nilikuwa nimefikiria ni what is the role of, how much do parents contribute in establishing proper relationships between brothers and sisters. But then ukaileta in a way that actually parents can also contribute to the negative relationships between siblings. So and I think Anania may explain, Kima may explain. So Faith, how do you think, how much should parents, or how much do parents play in ensuring and establishing proper relationship between siblings, especially even in your case?
I think they do play a really big role, and majorly because if you think about it again, I think it's from our parents that we get to see how to lead our lives, how to love others, how to treat others. Maybe from our end, I think it's been a privilege to see it being modeled. Like I've seen my dad and the brothers, like how they live, how they get along, how if something major is happening in my life, best believe they know.
And they will be there.
Yes, and they'll call you, they'll ask you how you're doing. If work is difficult, they'll call you. Wewe unafikiria hata
Wow.
wajui, but yes, they'll call you, they'll ask you what's going on. Also, I think it also tends to be now a source of advice outside of your parents. And I think sometimes even for like maybe when you can't tell your parents things now, you can even tell them. So I think just getting that model from them has been helpful to just see that your siblings are supposed to be, I'll take whatever the verse he said,
Yes.
there for adversity.
Yeah.
They've really ridden on that. And also just teaching us God's word. Like, it may sound cliche, but I think the more you listen to it, the more your heart is changed as well. The more, I think for a long time also we used to share the word before we went to sleep, even when we were small. And I think looking back, your heart will tend to soften even towards the people of the household who you're sharing with. Imagine you're being made to pray for this other person. Like, how can your heart not?
Yeah, and you are in competition in your own mind. You are
I
competing
know.
with them. So you have to pray for them. every
Mambo
day.
ambe wa yogurt. How can you not?
You're
Yeah.
like, let me pray for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I don't know. Do you have how has your parents helped you establish good relationships with Faith and your younger brother?
Yeah, I think largely the example that Faith gave, and I think also just trying whenever it's possible to get you people together, so you do some things together. You get you're reminded to know how the next person is doing, because sometimes you get into our own worlds doing our own things. You imagine you are doing your things, but you have other people elsewhere who you have an obligation towards. So you're reminded, and just bringing us together, I think that cultivates that relationship.
Amazing. Before we started recording, tulikuwa tunapiga story na Faith, wakiniambia venye relationship ya siblings somehow hata alianza akisema hivyo, it's sort of a forced relationship. So niko namuuliza, so how do you have to work with your brother? I'm like, she's like okay, in that context, what options do we have? I just have to work with this guy. Yeah. So probably how can we encourage Faith? How can we encourage that sense of unity and teamwork? Teamwork in your parents and their siblings wako nayo, as kids mume observe. How can we build that sort of teamwork in siblings?
Intentionality. Like he said, there's that part about, like, right now we have our own lives and our own things going on. But I think it's intentionality that will make me pick up the phone and call to ask, how are you doing? How is this going on? You said you are doing this. How is that going on? And even making a point of praying for them as well. I think all of that just takes intentionality. I really also don't think like their relationship that we've explained, the way we've seen it grew just out of, like, it wasn't natural.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that has had to be put into that. Yeah.
And I think ume mention vizuri, because just because someone is your brother, just because he's your brother, does not mean that automatically you will have a good relationship with him. You have to work towards having a good relationship with him. So what would you say, can we encourage that sense of unity between siblings?
As Faith said, intentionality, but what came to my mind actually is considering each other somehow better than yourself. That's going beyond yourself, so that you consider them actually much more important than you. So you'll go out of your way to make sure at least you are investing in the other person. You're putting them, always considering them, and that's how I think somehow the relationship will grow. So
putting in the work. So those are amazing answers. So as we bring this to a close, so we have cases in our households. So you guys are 3, kwetu tuko like 5. So unaweza pata in a situation where one of your siblings is not saved. We were talking with someone downstairs just before I came up. Nikamshow, where is your brother? Akasema, well, just thank God, siku hizi anaenda kanisa. Sometime back, hakuwa anataka maneno ya God, hakuwa anataka maneno ya kanisa kabisa. So in a situation where one of your siblings is or we can say has gone astray, they are not in the faith, and especially when you consider that your parents are godly, they are saved, it's a Christian household basically, but one of you has rejected the gospel. How do you deal with? How do you have that conversation with them? Generally, how do you approach that situation?
I think that is a difficult situation for us to be in.
Yeah.
And also considering, I don't know, it seems so big because I think of it as there's a possibility that one day we'll be in heaven and they won't be there.
Yeah.
And I think it's scary, but even so, I think my thoughts on that are to just constantly bring up Christ and the gospel. Because again, faith comes by
Hearing.
And by hearing
The word of God.
Exactly. I think there's only so much that we can do in the long run. So just constantly bringing it up, putting it out there.
Yeah.
And also, and there's really nothing wrong with trying to constantly bring them into spaces where the gospel is being preached, like bringing them to church. Like the work might not be happening then, but I really do believe that just constantly having them in a space where they keep on hearing will, in the long run, have an impact.
Yeah. How would you encourage someone whose brother or sister is in that space where they have totally rejected the ways of the Lord, they have rejected the gospel? How would you encourage them to handle that situation?
In agreement with Faith. Okay, first, I've not had directly that experience, so this will be more from my end. Just how I suggest it could be helpful.
Yes,
I agree with Faith that maybe just continuously try and share with them. And also, I think also a large part of, if you can illustrate by how your life is, then that can also be of help to them. They'll be able to observe and see, so this is actually what I'm being drawn towards. So maybe that's probably the addition I can add.
Being the example. Nice. Now, as I really bring this to a close, I want you guys to just tell me one favorite thing about Kim, and you tell me one favorite thing about Faith. Acha nianze na Kim.
Okay.
Let me start with the younger one. Yes.
Faith is very empathetic. So I guess I'm not the same to her, because, for example, if I had a certain situation, I would probably look the lesser empathetic.
When you say pragmatic
towards something like that. So on her end, she would probably be more empathetic.
How do you feel about this?
Why is this like this? Why are you looking like this?
So, unataka tu solutions.
So
that's a good one. Yeah, we can confirm that it's true as her friends.
That is okay. Thank you.
Faith.
Okay, first, that's a sweet thing to say. Thank you. I think I really like a lot of things about Kim. I really love my brothers. Like, oh my God. Kim has introduced me to so much. Like, there's so many cool things I know, and I shine with them out there. People think it's from me, but it's from him. I'll give you examples. I don't know if you've heard about If Poem by Rudyard Kipling, Kina Desiderata, The Words of the Invictus. He's cool like that. I mean, but yes.
Wait. Kim unajuanga? How do you know that? Anyway, go ahead.
So I feel like there's a lot that I've gotten from him. He sends me the coolest songs. Like, unasikia tu like, Yeah. So yeah, there's that, and also
It was one thing.
it was one thing. Okay, sour.
But
Yeah, but I really love at least
Yeah.
that part. Yeah.
Ukiwa na yeye una struggle kufikiria hata unajua ako around. Sawa. I would give you guys a chance to probably give you a parting shot. Taanza na Kim.
Okay.
Tumalizie na Faye.
Okay, so thank you. For me, a close would I'd just like to encourage different. Maybe there are many situations we face as siblings, but as we said, we should always try our best to make sure we stand with each other. Just encourage the relationship to grow. As the word we had shared, that a brother is actually there also for adversity as much as well for the good times.
Yeah.
So be encouraged to grow that relationship. Just for a balanced view, I think also we've not talked of maybe the challenges that we normally face. We are probably like every other group of relationship, any other siblings. So we just continue trying to make sure that we seek the best for each other and we make the best of the opportunity that God has given us as siblings as we are here on earth. Yeah.
Amazing. Well said. Faith.
A story is told.
Go ahead.
Of two siblings in our own country. It's pretty common. I don't know if you've heard about it, but the younger brother unfortunately was caught up in a crossfire. Then the bigger brother took like a lasso and carried the smaller brother, and he went on walking, and someone asked him like, why are you carrying a dead person? Then the bigger brother said, this is my brother, he cannot be too heavy. And these are like young kids. I don't know if it's a true story.
I've heard the story.
Yes.
But it was tweet kidogo. It was a bit.
What was yours? What is the version?
Yenye nilisikia ilikuwa so the brother when he was carrying akaulizwa, why would you carry him for that long? He's dead. And he responded, he's not dead, he's my brother.
Yeah.
Something, but it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think even just from that, I'll still go with the he's not heavy, because I think I've carried that with me for quite a while. And like your siblings are, if you think about it, they're the ones who will be there, whether things are good, whether things are bad. And I think just an encouragement to everyone out there, just try to work on that particular relationship. It doesn't matter if it's external forces that are causing the tension or internal. And maybe just one verse as an encouragement. Psalms 133:1, behold how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity.
Amazing. Thank you guys. I think your verse ulikuwa unasema ni imestick kwa akili yangu sana, nimeitafuta. Ni Proverbs 17:17. It says a friend loves at all times and a brother is born for adversity. And I think for me that would be the parting shot. Thank you so much guys for joining us today rather, depending on the time you're watching this. Until next time, peace.